Today we focused on number conversions and decimals and fractions. And now we're kind of getting to the point where we're starting to intermix some of the skills that we've learned in class. So our first problem says to multiply 3.4 times 1/1/8. And we need to write our answer as a decimal. And since I need to write my answer as a decimal, I'm going to go ahead and keep my first term in decimal form and convert my second term into decimal form. So I know that my 1 is in the numerator, so it's going to go in the box or in the radicand, and that's going to be dividing it by 8. And since 1 can't go into 8, I'm going to need to start adding zeros. So I'm going to go ahead and add decimal points so I don't forget where they are. 8 will go into 10 now, one time, with a remainder of 2. Bring down another 0. 8 will go into 20 two times. That's 16. Remainder of 4, bring down another 0. And 8 will go into 40 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40, bring down a 0. Once I've gotten to a 0, I know that I've completed a terminating decimal. So, I now have two decimals. And since my original problem asked what 3/4 times 1/8 is, and I know 1/8 is equivalent to 0.125, essentially I'm looking for 3.4 times 0.125. So I can rewrite that as, let's do 0.125 times 3.4. So I will have 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Bring down my 0 for my second row. 3 times 5 is 15. Be careful not to get my numbers mixed up, so I'm going to go ahead and scratch that 1 out and put a 1 up here. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 3 times 1 is 3. So that'll give me 0. 5 and 0 is 5. 7 and 5 is 12. Carry the 1. 4. If we look at our problem up here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 terms to the right of the decimal. So I'm going to move my decimal place over 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So my solution will be 0.425. We don't no longer need that extra 0 after because it terminates at the 5. Our next problem, real quickly, we're not going to solve this entire problem, but I want to help you just remember how to get it set up. So we want our answer to be in fraction form, and since our second term is already a fraction, we're going to convert our first term to a fraction. And remember that when we have a terminating decimal, as this is, 0.42, we simply put the number in the numerator, put a 1 in the denominator, and then our quick rule that we learned is however many numbers we have in the numerator, we need that many zeros in the denominator. So 42 over 100th. And some of you still remember that 4 is in the 10th place, 2 is in the 100th place, so the combination of those two numbers is 42 that extend into the 100th place, so that would be the equivalent fraction of 42 over 100. Now that could certainly be reduced and that would make your numbers a lot smaller, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that because like I said, I'm not going to solve this problem. But that was divided by 1/6. And we remember from class that anytime you divide two fractions, you keep it, you change it, and you flip it. So we will have 42 over 100 times, change the sign, 6 over 1. And from here, you should be able to solve the rest of the problem because it's simply multiplying straight across. 42 times 6 gives you some number. 100 times 1 gives you 100. And then you reduce the fraction. I want to look at one more just so we can review this problem here, number 3, because it deals with subtracting fractions. And I've noticed that some of you still have a tendency of making a few little mistakes in subtracting fractions. And so the first thing we need to do is convert our first number into a fraction so that we can subtract the two fractions. And so we know that 4 is a whole number value, and 7 is in the 10th place. And so we simply write 7 over 10. And now I have two mixed numbers, 4 and 7, which is equivalent to 4.7, and 3 and 4 tenths. So I'm going to convert both of these numbers into mixed numbers because I need to have them in mixed number form. Otherwise, I've noticed many of you make mistakes when trying to do these whole number subtraction processes, and I'd much rather see you convert them into mixed numbers and be successful, convert them into improper fractions and be successful with your subtracting of fractions. So 4 times 10 is 40 plus 7 is 47 over 10 minus 3 times 10 is 30 plus 4 is 34 over 10. And in this case, we already have a common denominator, so all we have to really do is subtract our two numerators. 47 minus 34 is 13 over 10. And so, if you remember to turn everything into an improper fraction, it's going to make your life much simpler when you're trying to solve and simplify fractions. Hopefully this helped you get a good grasp on the concepts for today. And I will go ahead and post a solution key for this homework assignment as well. Thanks.